G'day, g'day. How you doing? Wolver G15 here. Today I'm doing a little video on this. Let me get a bit closer. On this, it's my my 89 Honda Spada VT250. Stands for V Twin 250. Go figure. Go figure. Had this baby for about a year now, and I think that's given me more than enough time to give an accurate review on the thing. So, why don't we get started, shall we? Why don't we get started? Before we even start, let's just say, they're not big. These bikes are not large. They are, ride height is about yay high, and they're not overly huge. Those with long lanky legs and arms and such, probably not for you. I'm 5'10", and this bike it's on the borderline of I wouldn't go any smaller than this for myself. But it works alright for me. I'm only a little guy as well in terms of weight, so it works alright. It's very lightweight as well, weighing in at not all that much, to be honest. You're looking wet weight, something around this number right here. Power putting out thereabouts, you're looking at about 40 horsepower, thereabouts also, depending on who you ask. That being said, that was from factory in 1989. 2015, that's another story. I don't quite know what it's producing now. Now, I'm not running a stock pipe on mine. Mine's just got a slip-on exhaust on it, which does free it up a little bit. It's got the restriction at the moment, but standard still rests of the exhaust. So, look, it's not going to be a super machine. I've been so used to riding my my street triple lately that I just got back on this thing, and it feels a bit smaller. It feels very 250. It's got an very optimistic top speed of 180. I've got it to about allegedly 130-ish. And that was in full world's fastest Indian mode, hunkering down on the thing. I was kind of topping out, but you could probably get a little bit more depending on what you do to free it up, tire pressure and exhaust and what have you. So, you know, it goes alright for a little city bike. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's rather talky for its little V twin, so which means for beginners it's rather good because you're not going to stall it very often. It's really forgiving. Case in point, you can let it out, and it's just going to go. Yeah, it's not going to love it, but, you know, you can just go. Look at that. Look, Ma. No throttle. No throttle at all. It's just under its own weight in first gear. So, you know, she goes. She can move. But why don't we give her a little bit of a run around, shall we? So, let me give you a little bit of history on this thing. They are the predecessor to the VTR. Now, they are Honda's best-selling naked model to date. They are the little 250. You see them everywhere, tubular steel frame, and they are mighty popular, especially around here in Melbourne. Everybody's got a VTR. They are probably the most suggested learning bikes that aren't a sport bike. I reckon the only thing else that you're going to see more beginners on would be probably a Ninja 250, I'd say, or maybe nowadays a Ninja 300s. They're pretty damn popular too. But this is the predecessor. So this was built in 1989, from 1989 to 1991. They took a 6-year gap after that to build the VTRs. They started in 1997 they started the VTRs. So this was kind of, this for a lot of people was what you had before then, really, in that market. Yeah, there's some other ones, but in terms of what Honda was building. Now, they're running pretty much the same engines as the VTRs. However, the VTR was detuned, so it produces a little bit less power. For what reason, I'm not quite sure. Probably emissions or some shit like that. Usually that's got to do with it. Being this was an 80s, they didn't really give too much of a shit back then. This one's also got a 6-speed box as opposed to the VTR's 5-speed. The gear ratio works out to be actually a tie-up speed on the VTR, despite its more power and less gears. It's just straight up gear ratio, so you'll be shifting gears more often on this, but you'll have a more smoother transitioning in speed, I can imagine. Through city, it's fucking marvellous. The thing is so thin and so little, it's just filtering through traffic. Not that I would ever do that. Filtering through traffic is a dream on this thing. The only thing that you find is the mirrors knock against shit every now and then, but they flick around so easy that you hit anything and the mirrors just fold in. You do no damage to any cars. Mad. Now, a few things I should mention about this is they have a rather small little fuel tank. As you can see, the whole body of the bike is very thin. The whole profile is very small on these ones, which is great, especially for city riding. They're bloody fantastic. So, fuel tank, you're looking at a 9-litre tank. It's got about a 2-litre reserve thereabouts, so total of 11. I find I get about 200-ish K, depending on how much I want to twist that throttle and have some fun. I got one big bulb on the front in terms of the headlights over here. Just a single disc on the front there. And they stop, yeah, they stop alright. I mean, look, it's only a 250. You're only weighing about 150, 160 thereabouts. Whee! Yay! Circles is fun. So a big difference on these ones compared to the VTRs in terms of chassis-wise is you're looking at a Castec aluminium or aluminum, depending on where you are in the world, frame on these ones. Fully casted aluminium compared to the tubular steel frame on the VTRs. Just reduces the weight ever so slightly. It's not quite as pretty, but it depends if you're into that sort of silvery, chromy look. Why don't we jump on and give it a bit more of a spin, shall we? A bit more of a spin. Just for funsies. Just for shits and giggles. Whee! Whee! I'm getting looked at here by people in traffic. It's awesome. You're all jealous and you know it. So one great thing I found about these bikes, having owned it for about a year, is they're bloody nigh on bulletproof. They're just great, these little Hondas. You get some of the, some of the late 80s, 90s Hondas through there. They're just bulletproof. You can't really go wrong with the Jap maids. They're just great bikes. Especially as a beginner, if you want to learn stuff about them as well, you can drop them, you can throw them around, you can thrash them. It just doesn't really matter. They're cheap as shit, and you're just going to have an absolute laugh with them. They're great to learn on. You're gonna find your best lessons coming through something like this, because there's no point jumping on a really big fast bike and then learning to ride, because you're always worried about the speed. You're always worried about, oh, I'm going too fast things. You can make mistakes on a little bike like this, and it doesn't matter. It's just great. They're friggin' a hoot and a half, these things. So, people are constantly asking the question, what's a good first bike? What's a good learner bike? And as much as everybody loves to throw out the MT-07 and the Street 660 and all that sort of stuff, yeah, that's all well and good if you're going to be on your restrictions for your 3 years and you're looking for something a bit bigger after, maybe for a second bike. But as a first bike just to learn on, you can't really go wrong with a 125 or a 250. It's from the Jap range. They're just great little machines. The parts are cheap as shit. Yeah, as they get older, they're getting a little bit more expensive, but most of them are interchangeable. It doesn't really matter. Jap parts are great like that. You can just do whatever you want. Let's see, what's he look like in the mirror? Oh yeah, get that flex shot. Oh yeah, he looks good. He looks good, all right. Damn, he looks good.